And welcome, people. I I know nobody wants to see my chest, but you see the steam back there. Move that way. That's what I'm making this video about. Not the steam, but why the steam. And I'm sorry about the lighting. I'm trying to. I'm sorry, folks. I may not be able to get good lighting right now. That's a little better. Okay, so I'm going to talk about tonight's dinner. And this has been said by a couple of people, and I had not thought about it. So, I mean, it's just something I had not thought about until it was brought up to me. And nobody said it to Lisa. They said it to me. And basically, they said that she seems like she and Carolyn have a lot of similar traits, and those are good traits. Oh, I just got stuff in my eyes. Yeah. I'm about to cry, and then something in my eye starts burning me. That's okay, hon. So, before I start talking about everything else, let me talk about dinner. Okay, so you see that pot on the stove. You can't really see the pot. Man, I got something in my eyes.
Honey, go in the bathroom and wash it out.
I will. Anyway, what we're having tonight, it's taken me over 2 minutes to get to this. It's beans. I know that may not sound fancy or anything, but we are country, and we are both essentially from the South. So, but, anyway, she bought a ham the other day, and it was already cut, right? Yeah, it was a spiral slice. What? Smoked ham. And we've been eating on it, but she said, "Why don't you put some of it in the beans?" I'm like, "Yeah, that would be good." So, okay, a lot of my recipe, a lot of the things I cook, I don't really have a recipe. I don't have it like a formal recipe. Okay. I kind of just, well, why don't I put some of this in there and put some of that in there, and maybe I'll put some of that over there in there. Now, I do better now with that than I used to. It was not that many years ago where I would do that, and sometimes I would make something inedible. But now I can pretty much do that. Per se, I mean, it does depend on what I'm cooking, but beans are beans. There's nothing complicated about it. Now, sadly, I had to do the quick soak method because last night, even though I said several times I need to put the beans on to soak, I never got around to it. And I prefer beans soaked overnight. The quick cooked method, the texture of the beans isn't quite the same. They're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. There's just a difference in the texture, and I much prefer the long soak, an overnight soak. But I didn't get to it, so I didn't get to it. So what I've put in to that pot of beans over there, I don't know if you can tell, but we did the dishes and stuff. What I put into the pot of beans, I put some garlic. I love garlic. I could have almost cured Carolyn of everything with the amount of garlic I put in there. I don't think Lisa's going to die anytime soon because I put so much garlic in everything.
Oh,
Yeah. So there's garlic, and I do mean garlic. I don't mean garlic salt or anything. I mean actual garlic I had to cut up. There's garlic, pepper, salt. Now let me say something about salt. You can't really see because it's behind the steam. There's a little bag of sea salt, Celtic sea salt. It's good sea salt. I mean, it's good salt. It's also very expensive salt, something that we did not buy but was given to us. Once when we went to get food, it was given to us. It's just a little bag of Celtic sea salt. I know, it says Celtic. I'm not sure. I have to look. It's probably French, probably from Normandy, but I like good sea salt. Where I'm from, Cadiz, when you would drive, or between the city and the mainland, they have salt farms, and we used to get cheap salt, and it was real sea salt, not salt mined from a salt mine. They actually farmed the salt. Anyway, the salt, pepper, garlic, olive oil, agua, water. Let me see, what else did I put in there? Onion. I only put one onion in so far. Closer to the end of cooking, I will do some other things, because sometimes when you put your seasonings in early, by the end of cooking, they basically don't exist anymore. I mean, the flavors really aren't there the way you want. So, certain things you want to put in late, certain things you want to put in early, certain things you want to put in somewhere in between. So, now for me, if it was just me, and thankfully it's not, because, well, I could be, I'm not going to get into all that right now, but if it were just me, I would, let me see if you can see it. I guess I put it away. I have like a gallon jar, like big old gallon jar of jalapenos. I actually have 2 gallon jars of jalapenos. One is half done. The other one I just got this month. We order some of our things from Walmart online, like cat litter. That way we don't have to carry it. It's shipped to us and it's brought right to our door. So that's nice. When we order beans, we order 25-pound bags of beans. Rice, 25-pound bags. It's either 20 or 25 pounds depending on the product. Rice, beans, flour, and sugar. Because sometimes I like to bake, I like to cook, period. But sometimes I like to bake. When I bake, sometimes I use more sugar. Now, some people like a little sugar in their beans. I don't. Lisa likes sugar more than I do. But, everybody's different. Like down south, you have sweet tea. Now in Texas, at least where I lived in Texas, it was just regular tea. It wasn't sweet tea. You had to put your own sugar in there. Now, the last year or so that I lived in San Antonio, they started serving sweet tea. But I don't want if I want my tea sweet, I will put sugar in it myself. I just put a little bit in there. I don't want a lot. Just kind of take the edge off, so to speak. But anyway, so the beans, I'm going to put some cilantro in there. Now, if you want to know how to preserve your cilantro, because it's hard to preserve, take a mason jar. Depending on the amount you're going to preserve, depends on the size of the mason jar. And do this. I do it with garlic, do it with jalapenos, do it with bell pepper, do it with this, do it with that, do it with that, and someone else. But olive oil, put it in a mason jar, and you put your cilantro in there. Another way to do it, you chop it up really good, and you stick it in ice trays. Put some water in it, throw it in the freezer. Once it's frozen, take it out, put it in a baggie, keep it in the freezer. When you need it, you take it out. See, that's one thing with the cilantro. I won't put that in until late. That is to say, closer to the time that it comes off the stove, closer to the time that we eat it. That's when the cilantro will go in. Now, I happen to like garlic. I think I may overdo it for some people, but I happen to like it. And like Lisa said, I don't know if you could hear her in there or not. It's good for you. It's healthy. And it'll cure you of a lot of things, too. But, anyway, so that's, you see my flintlock rifle right there. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know what in this frame that I'm looking at you see versus what I see. But you know, for the last 2 or 3 months we've both been like, we need haircuts. And once, I guess it was last month, we went to get our haircut, and they said, oh, it'll be a couple of hours before we can get you. And we're like, oh, we'll come back. Well, by the time we could come back, we didn't have enough money for it. And the same thing happened this month. But, you know. So that's a candle going right there that you see right there. And anyway, and to my daughter, I want to say, you asked me a question, or essentially you asked me a question about those people. You know, you see what happens with those people, and some people like that, is once you cross them, you're enemies for life. Right? To them, I am, for the rest of my existence, their enemy. You know, to me, just leave me the blank alone, you know. I don't mess with you, you don't mess with me. The thing is, I'm not going to sit here and lie about them. I'm not going to say, oh, they're not what they are. You know, they're bad people. And I think that it's only right that people know that and know the truth about them. When my cousin came up from Virginia to help me out with my wife Carolyn's things, I saw their dear leader, and he saw me, and he gave me the filthiest, dirtiest, meanest look you could imagine. Why? Because in his eyes I betrayed him. In his eyes I betrayed them. I didn't betray them, I just saw them for what they really are versus what they want people to think they are. It's as simple as that. So, you know, I tell the truth about them and they don't like it. But anyway, so that's, you know. Oh, let me show you something that the beautiful girlfriend got me. She got me a package of, well, you can't see that, can you? See if I can get it out of the glare. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles of hot sauce, different types of hot sauce, and she knows what I like. She knows what I like, doesn't she? So I need to go stir the beans, check on them. Now here's for the quick soak method for anybody that is wondering. Quick soak versus long soak, or overnight. I call it overnight soak. For overnight soak, you just take the beans, go through them, make sure there's no rocks or anything in there. Found a huge rotten pinto bean in with the beans today. You know, ugh, it was nasty looking. At first I thought it was a huge rock, and I took it out and looked at it, and I kind of rubbed it, and it started coming up, you know, like the skin started coming off. It's all nasty. But you know, the long soak, the overnight soak, you just sort the beans, put them in a container, waterproof of course. Make sure there's plenty of water in there because the beans are going to soak that water up. Just leave it overnight, and then in the morning or whenever you start cooking it. The quick soak method, you take the beans, put them in a pot, boil them for 1 minute. Put them in a pot, put water in them, make sure they're well covered. Turn the heat on, go all the way up, to boil. Let them boil for 1 minute. Turn the heat off. Now I keep them covered the whole time, and then let it sit for an hour. So you have 1 hour, 1 minute, basically. Actually, it takes a little longer than that because you have to sort the beans. But then after you've done the quick soak, you cook it for an hour or a little more if you want. But like I said, to me, this is just me. I mean, everybody's different. To me, I prefer the texture of pinto beans when they've had the overnight soak versus the quick soak. They're still good. There's nothing wrong with them. They're still good. I mean, pinto beans are good just about anyway, right? But which reminds me, I need to make some beans for the trail. There are different ways of doing that. One, you just take your pinto beans, stick them in a blender, and blend them all up until it's like a powder or a flour. It's from things I've read, people say they can be gritty, so I would still soak them. Another thing you could do is you could go ahead and cook the beans, just no seasonings, just cook the beans, and then let them dry and stick them in the oven. Well, I guess you stick them in the oven to dry, and then you basically have instant beans. So you can use those on the trail. But anyway, so I'm going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I didn't give you any specifics on how much of this or how much of that, because I took I buy big bottles of Kumano and chili powder and cayenne, although the cayenne I don't use that much of. And see, here's another similarity between Lisa and Carolyn. Neither one of them like hot stuff, but so I'm not using a whole lot of cayenne right now, but the cayenne pepper lasts a while. Even if it's just me, it lasts a while. But I just take some, pour it in my hand, throw it in there. Or I just poured the cayenne pepper? No, because I know you don't like it. No. So chili powder, Kumano, garlic, onion, salt, pepper. I don't remember now if that was all of it. I'm going to put some cilantro in near the end.
You're not putting all the other stuff in there.
What?
You're not putting cayenne pepper and stuff in there.
No, I didn't put. No, I'm not putting no cayenne pepper in there. You have to just kind of, how do you say, go with the flow. You just have to experiment, and if you're gonna do what I do, sometimes you're gonna, especially early on, you're gonna make something you just not gonna want to eat, and other times you're gonna go, well, it's way too hot, or this seasoning is way too much, or that seasoning is way too much, or something, but you can still kind of shove it down your throat even though you don't like it. But over time you figure out how much of this and how much of that, and you just do it, but anyway, so I'm going to end this video. What is this book? Oh, what?
You're a great cook.
Thank you. She said I'm a great cook. So thank you, hon. So one last word. I got my some of my files from the place that I was in called Devereaux. Turns out I was there 4 years, not 3 like I thought. 4 years of what? Anyway, so the food's on. Let me look at the timer. I can't see what it says from here. 39 minutes. I was about to say seconds. 39 minutes, so 40 minutes. I'm going to make some cornbread. That's a southern thing too. Actually, I should probably order like a 20 or 25 pound bag of cornmeal. I can't do that now, but maybe next month, maybe. But anyway, so no, if you want to try the recipe I just suggested, go for it. Now, also, let me say something about the garlic. The garlic I used, see, this month when we went to the the grocery store, I bought like a whole bunch of garlic because I had used all my other garlic. That's what like I said earlier, take my garlic, I just peel it, and I put it into a mason jar filled with olive oil, and I stick it in the refrigerator. Well, I went through all the garlic, and the only garlic that I didn't put in there were the little itty bitty pieces. So the only garlic I've put in there so far are the little itty bitty pieces. So it's probably not enough to really do anything. You could probably just barely taste it. I don't know. I'm going to put a little more in before it's finished cooking. But before that, I need to go ahead and start on some cornbread and get that going. Now I may actually make 2 batches of cornbread. Why 2 batches of cornbread? Because it ain't no jalapenos or anything like that in the beans. I'm gonna want. Well, I could always put some jalapenos in my beans when I put it in my bowl, but I also like jalapeno cornbread. Lisa's not going to eat no jalapeno cornbread. Carolyn would not eat any jalapeno cornbread. So I might, big question mark, make 2 batches of cornbread. We'll see. Anyway, everybody, Kat and everybody else, have a great night and have a great day tomorrow. Bye.